on the thing to see how rainproof their construction actually was. And they do, this is all just the first day we were there. They also make cornbread. They take them on a tour of we're right by the river, but there are no water activities. In fact, we'll probably just cross that off on the permission slip because there are no kinds of water activities. The closest they get to the water is at the end of the program. They take their little gold pouches and they can dip them into the river because that's sort of the official coming of age as a 49er. And it's really cool. It's the last day before we get on the bus. They do that. There's an evening program. We have campfire both nights. The first night, it's typical campfire stuff. They sing, they do skits, and things like that. And the second night I think is the best one because there's a Native American woman who speaks every year, who's a storyteller, and she is fantastic. She lives up there in Coloma and is a descendant of residents of the valley, and she has this unbelievable deerskin dress that she wears that is just that she made. It's fantastic. And she brings a bunch of instruments, and the kids get to play instruments and get to kind of learn about some of the history. And she tells stories, and we sing some native California songs, and it's really cool. She's really great. So that's kind of the second night. That day is the hike, and we go up Monroe Ridge, and there are lots of both native Californian sites and Gold Rush personality sites. James Marshall's house is still up there. There's a monument to him up on the top of the ridge that we hiked by. Like I said, it's a pretty gentle hike. It's easy for everybody to do, even me. And a lot of it is nature-based. There's the naturalists make activities as they go along. They have the kids become experts in a certain plant or tree or some natural thing that's along the trail. They'll have a few kids become expert in that and then present to the group. So it's a really great program. This will be my 4th time going, and I think it's one of the best trips. Coloma Outdoor Discovery School is the name of the outfit, and they are, as I said, really highly trained outdoor educators, really great with kids, very good at managing diverse groups of kids. We usually share the facility with another school, but we don't really interact with them that much. Really, about the only time we see them is at the dining hall. They're sort of in one half of the dining hall or the other. For our activities and hike and everything, it's just Thonrhill doing that. We are going to need 2 female and 2 male chaperones for each group. We prefer to have those chaperones be of the opposite gender of their kids because of the bunkhouse setup. Because females sleep in the girls, they'll sleep in the boys thing, and we mix the 2 grades sort of by gender and by class. We mix everybody up pretty good so that they get to work with different kids maybe that they don't work with usually. And you'll have, so each of the chaperones will have a hiking, actually we have 2 chaperones on each hiking group, right? Yeah. There's 2 chaperones on each hiking group. You probably won't be in the hiking group with your child.
If you can help it.
If you can help it, yes. And so it's sort of if you want a chaperone, we have a chaperone application, and we'll, if you're interested in that, we'll get those out to you hopefully before the end of the night. But if if not soon. And so we prefer to have opposite gender. It's pretty much of a 24/7 commitment. You are with the kids from sunup to sundown. There's a little break at mealtime. There's about an hour, I think, of sort of parent time, so you can go make phone calls or attend to whatever business you need to. But it's a real, you're on.
You're working hard.
Working hard.
These guys stick it on.
Yeah, and that's not much downtime for any of us when we're out there. We're with the kids pretty much the whole day. Typical day starts 7-ish, 7:30. They go have breakfast. There's some activities that they can do until about probably 9 or so.
In the morning.
I think, yeah, about 9 in the morning. There's right outside the dining hall, there's a gold painting. They have a couple of troughs that they sold with, it's probably fake gold, but I hope so. It's like $1,800 an ounce. I don't think they have a chance to do that. There's a playground area, so they kind of have a little time beforehand before the activities start, and then they're pretty much busy all the way through the day until dinner time. The first night they're tired. The second night they are really tired, and we will deliver them back to you happy and exhausted. It's a really fun trip. Anything else come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to sort of add to the reasoning for having parents be apart from their kids is it is a real growth experience for the students to be away in that setting, to be with other peers. So while it's wonderful to have the parent chaperones and we need you, it's also important for them to have a little bit of an independent experience. So just that is the thinking behind it. We're not trying to be cruel and tear you away, but they do come away with a different sort of confidence, I think. I saw a number of kids with that last year, so it was really sweet to see that for them.
And kids who have sort of haven't done a lot of sleepovers or haven't been much away from home, over the past few years, I've had a few kids go on this trip that, had never spent a night away from home. And they came through with flying colors because there's a lot of support. They're with their peers, and oftentimes they know one or more of the chaperones too. So there's a lot of support for kids who might be homesick. And one of the things that we do too is we give parents a little homework, and we have you write them letters as if they are away in the gold fields. And we try to have you write them kind of a historically accurate letter. And then we have a mail call at the end of the second night. And so the kids get to get letters from home, and that's a big part of the experience too. And they love that. It's really great. So anybody that's a little bit homesick, that kind of gives them a little more support. But it's also a really fun thing to watch them get the letters and just really light up when they get them.
And no pressure. We had parents, singeing the corners of their
yeah. Soaking them in tea to make them look old. Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do that. You wanted an A on your homework.
A little bit on chaperones, a little bit more. So both the permission slip for the trip and the chaperone application are due on the 28th of October. Chaperones, you get to go for free because you're working so hard. It is a 24/7 commitment for almost 3 days. 2 chaperones will probably ask to drive up in a car because we need to have an emergency vehicle up there because the bus doesn't stay. And if there's any reason that somebody has to go back down to the Bay Area, well, we have to have a car. So we let the chaperones kind of fight that out. He gets to not ride on the bus. You need to be fingerprinted if you haven't done that as a part of your volunteer work here. You need to have a TB test on file, and I think it's 3 years now. It used to only be 2, but it's I think 3 years. So if you've had one in the last 3 years, you're probably going to be good to go. And we do, just before we leave, probably in the month before we leave, we sort of have a little team building activity. We divide the kids up into different hiking groups and assign them to chaperones. So before we go up there, we like to have the chaperones come in, meet the kids. We do some kind of ice breaking and team building activities. The chaperones, usually we have them call all of the kids in the group. We have them call their families, so they kind of know who, you'll kind of know who your child's with, and chances are you know most of everybody anyway, but we have them just kind of touch base with the families. And
so how many kids is that per chaperone? Sorry.
I think when
last year our numbers were a little different, so I think it depends, but it's usually 5 or 6, right?
Well, there's a little bit more, I think.
This year?
Yeah. 8, 10.
Yeah.
But it depends on how many kids
How
go.
it divides out, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. I think we had, because the kids were different, we had bigger ones last year. But we have, we'll have 4 groups, 4 hiking groups. So 15 kids, basically.
Yeah.
14 or 15 kids. With 2 adult chaperones, a naturalist, and probably one of us.
Yeah, we have almost 20 more students going this year than last year.
Right, yeah. It's much smaller group last year.
Do they still do break them up and do the solo hike?
That's a pretty small part of the hike.
Yeah, there's a part at the end of the hike. The students are asked to walk alone. You can see the person in front of you, but it's sort of this idea that you are. Well, it depends on how fast you are. Some of them walk really slow, some of them walk really slow, and then the people behind, we try to pace it, but solo is sort of a stretch.
I heard that's one of the biggest confidence builders.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And then the night hike, is there a night hike?
No.
Oh, they don't do that?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the solo hike, actually, when what we do is we have, we send a kid off like about every minute or something like that. And then we have a sweeper at the end. So I was the
No one's
sweeper.
lost in the bushes.
Right, exactly, right. And the trail is well marked and safe and everything. So
It was like a rite of passage.
it is a rite of passage. My daughter went, she was in 4th grade, and she told me about the solo hike. It was a really, really big deal. Like it's a rite of passage. It's a very, very big deal for kids, and it's really fun.
What happens if it rains?
It rains. We have rain
Do you do
here.
everything?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. I know they'll modify some of the activities for rain. In fact, down right in the area where the school is, it's a school. It's like a campground basically. There's big areas, and they have big tents, like circus tent sort of size things that if it rains, I imagine they'll move some of the activities. We've had, every year I've gone, it's been great. The day we left one year, it poured on the way home. But
That's okay.
we were lucky. Yeah, it was great. It's going to be in March, so it'll be probably cool. But last year, funny, it was hot last year. So who knows? But they do modify some of the activities, but I think they do the hike in the rain. So we'll need to make sure everybody's got some rain gear, and you have to kind of be prepared for all sorts of weather. Really hot weather, really cold weather. We'll give you a packing list that the school provides for us. That'll be in the package, which I think is coming soon.
Do they bring sleeping bags?
Yep. The sleeping arrangements. There are bunkhouses. So there are big rooms with bunk beds in them. They should bring sleeping bags and stuff like that. We have a complete and very detailed list of the stuff that they need to bring. But the accommodations are pretty good. It's, I mean, if you've ever been to, Boy Scout camp, Girl Scout camp, church camp, or whatever, it's, it's not the Ritz, but it's not horrible, It's not, you're not sleeping on the ground or anything, and it's actually quite comfortable. They're nice bunkhouse. There are like group bathrooms for each gender. There is a bathroom in the bunkhouse that they can use during the middle of the night if somebody has to get up.
8 kids per month, you say?
I think it depends on what bunkhouse they're in. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others. There's at least 8 to 10 kids, and you got to figure there's roughly 30 boys and 30 girls.
And the bunkhouse is a mix with the other school too, right?
No, actually, no. I mean, there are these two long buildings that are cut up into rooms. The other group is usually at the other end, so we don't share them. They don't sleep in the same rooms as we do. We're pretty much self-contained. Each of the schools that are there, and there's a.
They don't expect the kids to actually shower, right?
There's about showering, kids showering. There's very limited opportunity for that to happen. Very limited opportunity. I mean, the boys will want to take a shower right away. No, but there are facilities, but yeah, I mean, they're busy. There's not a whole lot of time. I mean, if they get dirty or something, absolutely they can. If they fall in the mud or something, they can go take a shower. But there's a sort of a limited window for that to happen. Yes?
I was just wondering what kind of medical support or medical facility?
Good question. There's a very fully stocked medical trailer there. I think all of the naturalists or wilderness first responders. There's an urgent care nearby. There is a hospital down in Placerville. For example, the medical trailer is very fully stocked. A couple of years ago, some poor kid got the flu in the middle of the night, and so we could move him into the medical trailer, and his parents had given permission for him to take some Tylenol to get his fever down. Poor guy was just like a limp rag, but there was plenty of stuff. For example, they have extra sleeping bags. They have extra things in case a kid gets sick or something. They have things that can, that they can help take care of the kids who are in that kind of situation. Good staff. So I think the medical thing is very well in hand. As we go along, a little bit later in the process, in like a couple of months, we'll be handing out medical forms. Anybody that has medications that have to be delivered, Ms. Novak and I are the ones who take care of that. You just give us a detailed instructions and
And we're discreet about it. So
oh yeah, exactly.
Before anybody else is really busy, and it's easy to pull kids aside.
Yeah, so that's a very private thing, and we can just make sure that anybody who needs to have medication, it just gets done very discreetly and away from everybody else.
And then we also hold on to any allergy medication or those sorts of things.
Yeah, so for example, if there's somebody on a hike who needs an inhaler, we make sure that if the kid carries his own inhaler, his or her own inhaler, that they have it, or if not, the chaperone or one of us would probably travel with that group. If there's a sort of a more kind of complicated medical thing, we would probably go along with them.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Oh, the cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're asking $275.
$275, and we can provide some limited scholarship support. Nobody stays home because of payment issues. That's one of our big things. We want everybody to go because this is a very special trip for these guys. It's really a fun thing for them to do. $275, you can pay it in a couple of different ways. You can pay it up front. You can pay, I believe it's $100
Before December.
and then the balance of it in February. So there's options, and we're flexible. We can figure stuff out. So that's an issue. Just let us know.
And that cost covers the cost of the bus rental, the overhead for the additional chaperones because they're not paying for themselves, and then of course the food and the program itself for the kids.
You mentioned a team building activity that the chaperone would participate in. When would that be?
We usually do that in the month. Well, actually, we did it a week before last year. Yeah. But if we have time and we can get all the chaperones together, we like to do it. It's nice to do it 2 or 3 times if we can.
So they're not anticipating with anxiety.
Yeah, and they get to know the chaperones and they get to know who's going to be in their group. It really does help to kind of reduce the anxiety of the unknown.
Is that a weekday?
Sorry?
Is that a weekday commitment? Or?
Usually is, yeah. And it will probably take an hour. And we probably do it toward the end of the day.
That's what we did last time.
But however we can schedule it with people, we try to be flexible on that.
Yeah, so the way we did it last year was we reached out to all the chaperones and just tried to organize the schedule that fit the most of most people. And so if one chaperone wasn't able to make it, if we can do it a month out, then we can have 2 days or something. So hopefully everybody can make it more than one.
So you have 4 chaperones per class, right?
Yes. Yes.
Do you take more than that, or is it?
No, we can only take 2 male chaperones, 2 female chaperones from each class. We did take coach last year because there was a chance that I had to leave, and that may be the case again this year. So he may possibly be going, but we'll figure that a little bit closer to the trip. Yes.
So the next class, would that also have 4 adults in that next class?
No, they'll just join right in.
Okay, so the total.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Anything else?
So I have 2 kids. If I want to chaperone, should I fill 2 applications?
No, just one.
We talk to each other.
Yeah.
Raising my hand.
That's a twin, so, yeah.
We did last
Yeah.
year. We had 2 sets.
The bus ride is fantastic, chaperones.
There's Wi-Fi.
It's a school bus, though.
They actually do have Wi-Fi at the site.
They do, yeah. Covered food. Food seems to be okay. The bunk houses, the activities.
Yeah, any other questions? I'm assuming.
Yes,
I'm just curious if you normally have more chaperones or more people that want to be chaperones in spaces.
Last year we had to scramble.
Last year I had to have a parent from his class because I didn't have enough from my class. But last year was complicated, so who knows? But I think in the past there's been more.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
Usually there's more people who want to be chaperones.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do it.
So what do? You just flip a coin or first come first?
I mean, if we start by just saying, is it opposite gender and is it even in the classes, and then you kind of have to go random from there, because otherwise it wouldn't be fair.
So we try to, one other consideration is we try, if somebody's gone in the past, we try to give somebody else a chance to go, because they really want to ride on that bus. That's mostly it. if
Can you just ride on the bus, just, you know?
the thorough psychological examination before you do that,
Having parents dress.
I heard you ask about electronic
I was just assuming no electronics, no food in their bags, because of critters and
Oh,
bugs and all
no,
of that, right?
that's a big thing. And that's something that we talk about before we go up. They don't want critters in the bunkhouse. So don't bring any food, don't bring.
There's actually a do and don't list.
Yes, it's very,
The only thing that was sort of on the bubble was cameras. And I think last year too, somebody donated, disposable cameras.
I still have some left, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was from?
Yeah.
Someone that worked for an auto insurance company, so yeah.
You know, iPods, games, leave them home. This is it's supposed to be a 1848. So play with sticks or something. The packing list is pretty detailed and it's pretty easy to figure out. Usually, if you don't have some of the gear, you know, we encourage people to you know, check the community if anybody can loan you some equipment. It's not anything to. There's not really that much stuff. It's mostly sleeping bags and things like that. They have to have a backpack, like a day pack that they can carry on the hike that will keep that. They have a little notebook that they keep usually. They have their water bottles and
Water bottles are important.
yeah, really important. And then they have to help carry the food on the trail. So the naturalist has, you know, a great big giant bag of food before we go up on the hike, for example. And he passes that out, and everybody has to sort of carry their share of food. And that's why we need the backpacks, and water, and all that kind of stuff.
Cameras.
And disposable cameras, that's right. Anything else you can think of?
No, so we did get the packets done and just, you can walk through what's in it so you know. So the front is our agenda that we just went through. But it does sort of give the bullet points of what we talked about, with the important dates. So this is the information letter with just the slip on the bottom that says that you're intending for your student to come, your child to come, and just explaining what portion of the payment you're making, if any. And then this is just the actual field trip information, so you don't have to return this one, this is for you.
That's the one you put on the refrigerator.
Yes, and you remember. And this is the actual permission slip. So this is one that we do need back. And this is what we want back on the 28th?
Yep.
Okay, so this is what we're looking for back by the 28th, so we know that you're intending to come, and then if you don't give it back, then we start to harass you. So don't make me call you. And this one comes with the first part of the payment, which is not due till December. But if you want to make it now, then you won't forget. And then the back is just that packing list, which we will send again, but if you need it.
And then we have a set of
These are chaperone
applications.
and I can make more. You're all ready to go.
Yeah, we'll get them back at about 4 o'clock on, it'll be a Wednesday. It's a Monday through Wednesday trip. And depending on how much traffic there is coming back from Placer Gulf.
And regular classes next Thursday.
I know, maybe I should start doing Wednesday to Friday.
Thursday.
I think that's right before spring break too. I think we're back 2 days in spring break, is that right?
No, spring break's like
Spring break.
24.
The whole week, I just put them, it's the next
Spring
Friday,
break is
is
the
25th to April the 1st.
Oh, okay.
So there's actually conference, wait the 2 days that you guys pick them all.
Oh, again? I thought
Oh,
we
yeah.
should.
This
This happened last year too.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll look it up.
Yeah, we usually actually end up sort of extending our conference schedule. Just for fun.
We've gone for 2 full days of it, so. So it's really fun. It's just a blast. I remember it for a long time. And they get a bandana. And a little gold pouch. Oh, and one of the kind of motivational things that the naturalists do is that, you know, the first day they give them their gold pouch and they're a greenhorn or
They make them, don't they? Make them.
yeah, they put them together. They're cut leather. They put them together, and so they're greenhorns. And they're greenhorns until they become a sourdough, and they finally get to dip their pouch into the American River. And they have beads on them, and they have the all important red bead of respect. And they sort of use that as a motivational tool to kind of keep them in line, to reward them for, you know, for good deeds. And then there's all other kinds of beads that they get there's a bunkhouse bead if they have you know, at the end of the program, they have the cleanest bunkhouse.
There was some golden sparkly bead, I don't know what that one was, but that was really coveted.
Yeah, that was a good one. So,
And they get that little vial of gold, right? That they do.
well, yeah,
Whatever
they pan for gold, and they give them, they do give them a little vial, and there's, you know, you get little flakes of whatever that yellow metal is. I don't think it's $1,800 ounce gold, but.
Don't tell my son that, he'll be dead.
No, definitely not. It's gold. Looks like gold.
Don't let them see the video.
Oh, so if you want a little more information on the facility, it's CODS.org, Coloma Outdoor Discovery School, CODS.org. And there's some pictures and stuff. It's a really cool facility. I just really loved it. It's really pretty up there. You know, if we have great weather, which I'm doing an anti-rain dance for, it's fabulous. It's really just a great trip. I really enjoy going on this trip a lot.
Yeah, there was at least a couple of families that went last year that had gone with older kids and had gone back camping there because they liked it so much. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, the kids just really get into it. It's really fun. And the naturalists are in character.
Yeah.
You know, they're amazing. They're
Spirited. They're very spirited.
oh, and
Well,
there's a square dance. First,
That's real awkward.
there's a square dance.
It's really awkward.
They just do the Virginia reel, so it's all they do is like, go down the wall.
Is it like the culmination of a big unit on a period of time? Is it like at the end of?
It's kind of part of the whole gold rush thing. It's some like hopefully we'll be right there at that time in March. But it's such a hands-on, really good living history thing. It's fantastic that you're actually in the spot where all this took place, and you get to see what some of the environmental aspects of gold mining was. It was a horrible thing for the valley, but it's
for the people who lived
and for the people who lived there, but a fabulous experience. For just I just keep going back to the fact that James Marshall's, you know, they have a replica of the mill, of Sutter's Mill there. It's not exactly in the spot I found out last year, but it's so cool that that happened here. And there's you know, James Marshall's house is up there where he lived after he was in Coloma, and then he left for a while and came back. And sometimes we get to go. There's a little museum there too. Did we go to that last year or not?
We went to the blacksmith shop.
Oh yeah, there's you know, some really cool period stuff like the blacksmith shop. And there's an old like an old ore crusher that's there. It's not operating or anything, but it's out there. There's some of the original buildings are still in the park across the street. There's a Chinese store that, you know, brings in, you know, the whole Asian cultural heritage of the gold rush. There's a store there. There's the other there's another, like a mining store that's there too, that kind of gives you a feel of what the businesses were like. And there's actually, the old jail is still there too. And,
Those kids never would use these kind of respect.
yeah, right. Lose respect, be there you go. But I think that pretty much covers it. If you have any questions, please let us know. If you have any special considerations about your kids, just let us know. They and we are able to handle just about any situation. Once the kids.
I seem to remember Ethan was reading a book set in that period, right, at the same time.
By the Great Horn Spoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably read that in this spring.
Because I remember that.
That'll give them incentive to keep good gold pants. No, actually, you can't. It's fenced off, and it's a ruin, actually.
Oh, okay.
But they can't go in there. That part is, we can go by it, but we can't lock them in there.
Is there any campfire activities?
Oh, yeah. The naturalists do this really great skit thing. And then, of course, the last night, the kind of the culmination is the Native American speaker, Kimberly Morningstar. And she's a great storyteller, really. Yeah, there's lots of campfire activities, plus awesome square dance. I've gotten to play with the square dance band the last 2 years, so they're really fun. They're really nice people. They're good square dance callers, so it's fun.
So if there's no more questions, as you leave, if you wouldn't mind putting your chair back up on this.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, if Jack has anything to right here. The famous.
The end.
So, do you want us to cross out the swimming